Okay, so I think we can conclude the third chapter with first. This is again another important one. Mahayana's character of the refuge. We're talking about the theory of refuge, okay? When we talk about refuge in the normal situation, it sounds like, you have this feeling that you are trying to surrender to something that is better than you. How should I put it? Something better than you and something that is external. This is never the case generally in Buddhist refuge, and especially in the Mahayana. And let me tell you this, it's called Drechap, meaning you are actually taking refuge to the result. You are not really taking refuge to something externally that is not you. Okay. When you do your laundry, the time that you think this is dirty, this need to be in the laundry. The action of soap, water, whatever, however you are washing. All that. From the time you begin the laundry, what are you aiming for? You are aiming for not a new cloth. You understand? You are aiming for the, we call it danje. Danje means the result of absence, basically. You are aiming for the absence of the temporary dirt. That's what you are aiming for. You are not, when you are doing the laundry, you are not buying a new clothes, right? You are washing the dirt. Mahayana refuge principle is a bit like that. When you are taking refuge, you are actually not, you are not really taking refuge to an external thing, but you are actually taking refuge to, finally, the absence of your defilement. Which means, this has a lot of meaning, which means there is a fundamental acceptance that whatever the dirt you have is temporary. This is a big remark, by the way. You think you are bad, you are dirty, you are emotional, you are angry person, you are really, deluded, etc., etc., etc. But no matter what, all this dirt are temporary. It's not your nature. It's not your absolute truth. So to the absolute truth, which is the Buddha nature, I think I've already explained this before. You are taking refuge. This is a character of the Mahayana refuge. Based on what I said earlier this morning about trust, you trust this glass of water is water. Likewise, your trust to the fact that your defilements are temporary. Does it make sense? It may feel like you are this bundle of defilement, that no one can fix you, but that's not true. All your defilements are temporary. You are looking at, probably this example doesn't work. Okay, anyway, look, you and me looking at ourselves. We don't remotely look like Buddha. Okay, but anyway, we have a strange concept how Buddha should look like. Most probably, it's like made in Kathmandu with bronze. But Buddha is not limited like this, of course, you know. But anyway, we think we don't remotely look like Buddha. We don't act like a Buddha. We don't think like Buddha. We don't eat like a Buddha. We don't dress like a Buddha. We don't talk to the Buddha, people like a Buddha. Yeah? But here, the principle of the taking refuge is, okay, you may not look like, talk like, eat like, think like, but all this cocoon, all this wrapping that you have is removable. And that you have to trust. Because when you trust that, then what is inside that wrapping, so to speak, will come, which is real you. To this, that's the quintessential point of the Mahayana refuge. Okay, so then quickly, I'll just refuge can be obtained mainly through the generating this attitude, total surrender, total acceptance. And also through the rituals, such as verses, shlokas, refuge ceremonies, which can help to boost. Not only that, according to the Maitreya, even the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta mind is really having this wish to enlighten all sentient beings. As long as you have that, you have the bodhicitta. But you can have a ritual of taking the bodhisattva vow. Ceremony can help. For this limited, narrow-minded human mind, it can help to think that this has become a big deal. That's why we do the ceremony. Okay, lastly, for summarizing, okay, so refuge. Again, right view, the shunyata. Not just the shunyata of selflessness of the person, but the selflessness of all phenomena. Everything as an illusion. Everything. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than the form, form is not other than the emptiness. That view will contain the refuge. Motivation is in order to enlighten all sentient beings, I shall surrender myself to the fact, this view, and also externally I shall surrender myself to the expounder of this teaching and the teaching itself and the community and the system that follows this teaching, the Sangha. and aiming for, motivated by mainly compassion to the sentient beings. Basically, the Mahayana refuge is already a Mahayana bodhicitta also, you understand? So it's already refuge and the bodhicitta together. And this there is expression sometimes in in Buddhism, Chiba Namba Chamri Che, which means distinguishing between who is Buddhist and who is not Buddhist is made based on who has taken refuge or not. Now, at glance, when you read this, it feels like it has something to do with the conversion. You understand? Those who want to convert, so to speak, means those who want to become Buddhists. Then you say you take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Okay, that's a simple way of understanding. But in a more deeper level, if you have understood, if you have accepted that all compounded things are impermanent, all emotions are pain, all things have no inherently existing nature, Nirvana is beyond extreme. That is taking refuge to the Dharma, and that will defer you from non-Buddhist immediately. And this is what I was saying yesterday, or this morning. Fundamentally, Buddhism is not same with Christianity or Islam or Purva Mimamsa or Sankhya or Jainism, because fundamentally because of this view. So that, with this, I think you can consider we have really very roughly summarize and discuss the third chapter of the Mahayana Sutra. Okay, so, well, there's a lot more chapters to catch up. I hope, both myself and you will have enough merit to, meet again and go through this in the future. There are commentaries. I don't know whether it's translated in English, but I think there should be Mahayana Sutra translated in Chinese. So those who wish, please read them. I'm happy to have this opportunity, use this textual study with you guys, because Mahayana Buddhism, very important, especially Mahayana Buddhism is so strong, and it's a very important tradition in the Chinese society, and I really value that. The Chinese, for over 2,000 years, have somehow adopted Buddha Dharma. It's kind of amazing. Chinese did not really bring what we call Hinduism, for instance, or yoga. I mean, for thousands of years, you understand? Maybe here and there a little bit, or Indian music. But Buddhism, the Chinese for centuries, over 2,000 years, by ordinary people, by the emperors, scholars, merchants, and survival of Buddhism today is from many different angles, really is due to the Chinese sort of patronship, if you like. And in China, Mahayana Buddhism has prevailed for a long time. Mahayana Buddhism is really, it's the heart, it's the body, it's like the head, it's like the eyes. In fact, what we call Tantric Buddhism is just a sort of it's actually Mahayana Buddhism, but it's sort of more exclusive or more how should I put it? Special. Branch is maybe not the right word. Method or technique. Tantra is actually Mahayana technique. I think it's important that the Mahayana Buddhism in China, Chinese origin, that their Buddhism is not settled with just, building big temples and, lot of charities, some prayers here and there, and maybe sitting a little bit, Zen, Chan, and becoming vegetarian. All those are really good. Those are very, very admirable. We have to do it. But there's much more than that. Mahayana Buddhism is not just that. In fact, 99% of the Mahayana is Mahayana's view, Mahayana's meditation, Mahayana's technique, teachings. So I hope that this will survive. So with this, for this year's Uttara Tantra, Mahayana Sutra, we will conclude with this today. So those who wish to go back to sleep and whatever, please, you can do that now.